Go, let's go, let's go. You are officially in the Michigan Man Cave. Welcome to the Man Cave, your place for any and all things Michigan football. Yeah, we got here real early this week for a certain reason. We not stalling these dudes out. The week is here. We can finally talk about it. As y'all can see, I'm on the move again, so pardon the location, pardon the digs, but had to find a nice quiet spot so we could kick it with y'all today. That's neither here nor there. Hey, we got out of the trap game.
Big
Although it was a little bit tense at moments, felt like we made our life a little more difficult than it needed to be. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know why, but before that game, I was with Big Pun. I told him, I said, man, this game got me a little nervous, man. I don't know why. And then if I could have changed my score prediction yesterday before the game, I know that's a violation of company policy, but
Yeah.
I would have changed it. I would have made it much closer. But
I don't even call this
man,
prediction. I don't even call these predictions a loss. It should
yeah,
just be a wash. And
right,
I'll take the homework from last week. I know you gonna take it. I know you gonna take it.
But regardless, we got out with the victory. I think for the most part, everybody healthy still. I know we had one lineman go down, but he was the backup anyway. So
I think it was.
Yep, Hinton went down, but he was only starting because Henderson. It sounds like he's
He didn't
straight.
even make the trip. Yeah.
He didn't make the trip, but it sounds like he's straight from what I heard post game. So he'll be back. So B, the mission was accomplished. I know your goal was even before we made our predictions, you were like, just get that dub and get out of town. So is that where you at with it still? You feeling a little do you feel a little more nervous after our last two games going into the big game, or are you just chalking it up to this is part of the season? This how it goes, man. You have some close calls here and there, and just all the focus on Ohio State now.
My confidence definitely is shaking. A little bit, not a lot, and definitely not because of our opponents, but because of us. Um, and it goes back to the point that I've been making all season. The reason my confidence was so high over these teams that we've been going against is because of the quarterback position. We have more experience than the quarterbacks we've been going against. He was playing at an extremely high level, but that's that performance yesterday kind of made me waver. Um, if you look at the numbers, what he had 12-23 for 141 and an INT. That reminds me of the cat we got rid of, man. Them is McNamara numbers. Again, that quarterback position is the reason why I'm more confident than even the Georgias and the teams that we might see in the playoffs. Shall we reach our goals is because our quarterback play, the experience and the higher level that he was playing at just yesterday left me wanting a lot more. But I'm glad we got the win, got out of there healthy, and that time to prepare for that game that we prepare for 364 days out of the year.
Yeah. King, talk to me. Same question.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point, boy. Because we always, like, throughout the podcast, throughout the years, said we need a elite quarterback play. You know what I'm saying? Everything else, every other position is pretty much solid. We just need a good quarterback. And we went through a lot of them, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, that does make me shaky a little bit, just the way he performed yesterday. But at the same time, I just felt like I'm with what Blake Corum said. He said, maybe we needed this game. You know what I'm saying? Maybe this was a wake-up call. Maybe this was the game that showed the holes in our bag that the water's leaking through or something. You know what I mean? So um the at the beginning, the pass rush scared me. We weren't getting to Tua, then we did. So that debunked that little um, whatever problem I had with the pass rush. The line, I don't know, man. Like we were getting her done, and we weren't getting her done. Also, even though we did get away with the win, having Henderson out there, I guess maybe that was the issue of not getting pushed. But um, yeah, that's not push, just push at when we needed it. When they knew we were, you know what I'm saying, going to run it, we didn't get some short yardage downs that we should have got. But like I said, maybe we needed this game to show us. But I think we're ready for whatever comes to us. This was our test. We ain't been tested. We've been tested 2 weeks in a row. Now the big test is coming up next week. So strap it on, buddy.
Yeah, and I also think part of this one, we said it was that just a bad spot game, right? Like, especially to play a team like Maryland, because if you really think about it, even though Maryland's like, not really that great, they're kind of like a team that's they're scarier than your average team that has that record, right? Like a Purdue or a Minnesota, teams with like the similar records is kind of like, I'm not really worried about them, but like Maryland, it's like y'all have more talent. Y'all should be better than what y'all are. So for that reason, it's kind of why I was just a little bit on edge before the game. And then also, if you think about our season, and it's crazy to say that being, I guess, going into that game, 10 games into the season, who was one of the passing two? I mean, if you think about it, what real life passing team had we played all season? You know what I'm saying? That's just straight up like Maryland, for the most part, is you might as well call them air raid. You know what I'm saying? Just spread you out. They even quit trying to run. It was like
short pass game was a running game.
Yeah, they throw the entire game. They got like we said, Baby Two was gonna go for 250, 300 yards passing, but he's gonna give you some. So if anything, I kind of looked at it like it almost was a good prep for next week for a team that can pass. You know what I'm saying? Because we haven't really had to defend a legitimate passing team. I mean, prior to Maryland, who was like a real like passing team we've played?
Yeah.
We haven't. Nope. Right. Like I said, nobody has a quarterback really. It's all been freshman quarterback.
Yeah, or just
or just Big Ten run teams.
And then to that point, if Drew Aller was if they were a passing team, they sure didn't look like it when they played us.
He's a freshman, so again, I don't got confidence in him.
Yeah, and their offensive philosophy still just isn't like let's move the ball down the field throwing. You know what I mean? Like Maryland's is like we're gonna live and die by slinging this thing around the whole field. So, Keen, I know you was hype on the group chat. I think maybe just because you get a little hyper when your predictions come true. Or not just you specifically. I think we all do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just, you get hype when you think you see something, think you know something, and then that thing actually happens. So, talk to me about your boy Tua. And for y'all listening, we know that's not Tua. We just don't feel like saying his whole name. Y'all know who the hell we talking about.
Baby Tua.
I'm gonna tear it up. So yeah,
Baby Tua. He did what we expected Baby Tua to do.
So, I mean, I think even the announcer said it, or they put up a stat where if they get under 3 turnovers, their winning percentage is like that much better, you know what I'm saying, than when they don't. So your boy Baby Tutu, like I called it in the chat, you know what I'm saying? I was like turnover coming. And then I think it was that I don't remember which one it was, but because I was faded a little bit, you know how I get on the but yeah, man, like that fumble was opportunistic, and then the kid scored. Derek Moore, he's from the DMV, so big ups to Derek Moore. Return home to the DMV. But yeah, man, like if you're gonna give us the ball, we're gonna create points off of that turnover. And to be honest, like the narrative in the press was Maryland, like they gave us the game because they turned it over. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, we wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like bro, it's really Michigan versus everybody, dog. Everybody's a hater now. But yeah, man, turnovers are his thing. He hasn't had a signature win. He's gonna throw for 250, but no tugs and 2 turnovers and then a fumble. So
he got one. He got one spike. He threw that fade on Will Johnson.
Nope, that wasn't a spike.
No, that wasn't a spike. He was down at the 1.
Oh well, yeah. I'll give him that.
The announcer did after it got called. The announcer said it was a touchdown. Like maybe 4 plays later, when we had the ball.
Right. Everybody was just like you on the inch yard line, but
Yeah.
but no, I feel you, man.
But yeah, man, turnovers, yeah, that's his thing. Give us the ball. We want. I mean, if you're gonna beat yourself, then I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah, and we knew like even after the fumble, we were like, oh, that's just a bonus because we're still waiting on the pick. And he ended up giving us two of them. Samer still. B, talk to us about Mikey. He is a vet, man. I like his just savviness, his leadership.
What I have down here about center still. I mean, it's leadership, dog. Like, I mean, even though people weren't considering that a game in the situation and with the pressure and everything that's going on, we need to have that game. He stepped up and he was huge, man. Especially in man-on-man coverage is what it looked like it was on both of his interceptions. Well, the second interception, I might be confused.
It was
First
the
interception when he undercut it, that was
Yeah.
zone. But the second one where they tried to just fade him, you know what I'm saying? He played the ball nice, you know what I'm saying? And
The receiver, he got ball skills.
exactly high pointed and took it out the air. So, I mean, just great, man. That's the type of plays we need from our leaders. And as Keen alluded to a couple times, that's his breakout player of the season. So, big ups to Sanders still, man, getting the job done what we needed to get done.
My breakout player finally made. Well, he had the scoop and score, Derek Moore. So I was happy to see he finally. I mean, he's been having a decent season, but he ain't really been making noise.
He ain't been standing out, and that's to another point, Train. Like
It might be
up to that point, our defense like hadn't really stood out. You know what I'm saying? They've been playing solid, getting the job done. You know what I'm saying? So it was good to see them. You know what I'm saying? Put everything together and finally get some stuff into the end zone. Block punt, 2 safeties. You know what I'm saying? And to your point, Train and Keen on Tua, they sitting up there saying he gives the ball away. He has 16 turnovers in the last, I think it was 4 games going into this game. So it's like it's inevitable. You know what I'm saying? It's like they give the ball away. So that's not for us to control. That's for them to control.
Right.
Control your house.
Yeah, and I guess the bigger issue, I don't even want to say it's a bigger issue, but something to bring to the table would be and you know how people say, for instance, Keen, how you were saying the narrative is, oh, Maryland gave the game away. Like, one, that's part of the game is defense, so that's a dumb argument. But I mean, I kind of get what they're trying to say halfway. If they didn't kill them, shoot themselves in the foot type of argument. But you have to ask yourself, if Michigan's not getting these easy points, you know what I'm saying? The picks, the fumbles, scooping scores, the safeties, whatever. It's like we don't do the same thing that we were doing as if we didn't get those things. You know what I'm saying? We would be more aggressive. We would, it's like that led us to play how we played. So it's kind of stupid to go about it that way. Or to think about it that way, that, oh, if we were just going blow for blow, we'd still just be running it up the gut. You know what I mean? Like, the circumstances have called for us to end this game. Let's just run it. We kind of went with that same approach again. So I don't really buy into that talk. But what I did want to ask y'all, B, and I'll let you start, is now Sherrone Moore's 2-0, and I get it. Whatever. Let's get these dubs. Especially the Penn State game. I really understood what he was doing. Let's just get out of here. This defense is a little scary, whatever. Maryland, I don't think he ever really felt too much fear from their offense, especially since their last 3 drives or so, we were playing on our side of the field. You know what I mean? Even though we weren't putting them away, we were still pinning them deep, 2-3 times in a row, saying if you're going to drive, 90, 95 yards on us and score a touchdown, then that's, kudos to you. But the bigger question is, do you think he's like being conservative? He's the head coach. I don't want to jack it up. Or is he like, holding back because it's like, all right, let's just get through these games and I'm going to open it up versus Ohio State? Or do you think this is more just his philosophy? Because I'm a little nervous if we don't come out like aggressive, how we came out aggressive last year. Like, we came out trying to throw the ball. Like, it wasn't first down runs every time. So I'm on the fence. I don't know what to believe now of who we've seen 2 games in a row now, him calling plays and as the head coach. So where are you at with him? Like, because I don't think that's going to get it done next week.
I mean, from what he's shown us, he leans heavy towards the run, and it seems to be his philosophy, which should worry you, and it worries me too. But if he's gonna win this next game, we're gonna have to see his actual coaching acumen, and it could determine whether he goes to what would you say, one of them big time programs that need a head coach, or to what, Florida Atlantic. You know what I mean? Is because in the big game, can you win that and you show an actual coaching acumen, or do you just stick with your power guns, your power players, and what you got, or can you make something out of nothing? So yeah, Train, I'm because of what he's shown, I'm leaning toward more that's his philosophy. But I'm hoping it isn't because now we need to actually see what you can do. He is the offensive line coach, so I get why he probably falls back and relies on that a lot, just because he knows what his guys can do. But as a head coach, you got to know how everybody does. You know what I'm saying? And you have to let your athletes play. So, what's the young kid's name? The freshman, number 82, Morris
Miles Moore.
Morgan.
Morgan. Yeah,
Miles Morgan.
I need, from what it looks like, I need to see more of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, get him the ball. You know what I'm saying? Because
The next Roman.
when Roman went down, he stepped up and he made some really big plays. So again, it's not leaning on the line because that's what you're comfortable with. As a head coach, you gotta show us what you can do with all those pieces.
Yeah, and King, you got. I mean, what you think? You think he about to come out and mix it up? I kind of feel like he might, just because he did it the last couple years. I don't know though, but he hasn't. Once he's had the reins, I feel like it's easier to do it when
When you
Harbaugh's
don't have,
saying,
you know,
"Hey,
yeah,
take some chances,"
yeah,
as opposed to you making that call. That's a
right,
different.
right,
That's a
right.
different conversation.
I think it's gonna be a lot different, and here's why. Here's why. Well, I mean, here's why I think we were run heavy. This Penn State was a different story. The defense was. It wasn't like JJ was inaccurate or anything. Just their defensive pass rush was getting quick. Barnhart was getting. He couldn't even touch him much back. So I think we're looking at this game totally different from Penn State, and we can't mix in the run heaviness with this because JJ was inaccurate. Um, he didn't distill confidence in anybody, not none of us on here, and especially probably not his coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I feel like he's gonna mix it up. I feel like he does have wrinkles in his playbook that I've seen, like versus Penn State when we should have been. I feel like we should have passed more, but because of that pass rush, it didn't allow us to. You know what I'm saying? Like those little quick outs and then like what Maryland was doing. You know what I'm saying? Those quick pass out to the outside, get it to your playmaker, block, let him make a play. I feel like it's gonna be different. And also that game was sloppy yesterday. We were sloppy. Penalties, fumbling the ball. It's just the game. Like you can game plan for so long, but the game is going to dictate how you play. You know what I'm saying? And we weren't getting certain downs with the rush that we thought we should have. So that made it look even worse, I think, to me. Looking back on it, because I was yesterday, you know what I'm saying, being off a couple beers and all that, you're looking at it like, man, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? We're just running. But now that I'm looking back, like some of those we should have got. Blake Corum he was getting wrapped up like quick, and he fell a couple of times when he was about to get going, and it was just it wasn't. I don't know. It was
Hey, King.
okay.
It wasn't
Hey,
crisp.
King, I don't want to interrupt you, but I'm tired of this Mickey Ficky being able to get it in from the 1 yard line for touchdowns, but then on second and short or third and short and fourth and short, he falling and he can't pick up
That's
the
what I'm
yard.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Like I seen him run into the back of a couple dudes. To me, like you said, you made a good point.
Oil, dog.
Where they're pampered. You know what I'm saying? They just think, oh, we're gonna get this push. I'm gonna run to the back. We're gonna keep churning. But lack vision, you gotta have vision too. You know what I'm saying? In those situations, because some of those plays, man, we needed first downs and we weren't getting it. We kept punting, and yeah, they were deep in their territory, and we made it work with the safety and the intentional grounding. But I don't like being in those situations, especially versus Ohio State.
Yeah, and I remember. I mean, it was like early in the game a couple times though. Like we needed. It was a third lane. Remember, they were like, "That's a mass of humanity moving there," and it was like the whole line like shoved them dudes back like 4 yards, and it's like, why can we do that play? But then it's like it's pretty much the same thing when you just smash mouth straight ahead, hit the dude in front of you. So
and also, real quick, Train, real quick. Also, I think it was a 4th and 3 where we passed it a couple of times. Like we passed it to Colston, and that's where I was thinking like, dang, he might have some circle. I'm like, yo, he about to 4th and 3, and then Colston did the out and then quick back in and then caught the first down. I
That
think
was
he
a
caught
good
one on
play
the
call.
sideline too when dude was draped all over him. So,
oh yeah, that's when I
And
said
Keenan,
kick
that
it.
series, he had me like, oh yeah, we got something. And then he
Yeah.
throws a fade to
Barner and for the 2-point.
and then I'm like, bro, you
We
just
ain't
lost
never
me
do no fade to
again.
Barner, bro. We ain't never do no. I
Yeah.
like Cornelius Johnson in there. I thought even Loveland, Colson Loveland, I throw him out there throw a fade to him before Barner, but hey, he saw something we didn't, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess when it comes to JJ, he has been inaccurate, uncharacteristic of him. Last game, I wouldn't even say Penn State just because he barely threw that game.
He
So
was
we
7
don't.
for 8 that game.
Yeah, exactly. But this game, yeah, man. I mean, even at the end, I mean, we could have ended it. Cornelius Johnson spun the DB in a circle, and I mean, I would like to think that's a pass JJ's gonna hit 9 out of 10 times.
That was the one right there.
And that was the one that essentially I felt like could have pretty much ended the
it.
game
Mm-hmm.
right there. And for the record, when we went for it on that 4th and 3 up 6 with field goal range, I'm like, I'm not going to renege just because we got the first down and be like, hell yeah, good call. It's like,
nah, we
he
was all
punts,
in the same boat.
he kind of like punts it when I want to go for it, and when I want to kick it, he's going. You know what I'm saying? It's like whatever. We got the job done, and that's what I'm saying with Harbaugh out, with Harbaugh not being there, because even like in the first half, like I think it was the first drive, bro. It was like 4th and inches from our own, like granted we were deep, like our own 35, wherever we were. It's like Harbaugh's been going for those a lot. Like when we just need the inch, and it's like he's like, oh, punt it. And then a couple more times when it's like 4th and short, he's like, punt, like, and I feel like it's easier as the interim coach just to be like, we made the smart football play instead of trying to overdo it. You know what I mean? But you don't have to make those decisions, when it's when it's hardball calling. So believe his nuts feel like they're in a vice at times. So I don't know, man. I think that's the part we're gonna miss the most. Not even so much of like what play to call, because I feel like he knows what play he wants to call, but whether or not to even go for it, like that's the part. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, just tell me to go, I'm good. That's not on my shoulders. I got the right play, but I need you to make that decision first. Go ahead, King.
Man, that's what comes with being the man.
You think Harbaugh's gonna talk to him about that this week? Like yo, like some of those, like I would have went for it right there. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Harbaugh like lead him in the right direction, like give him the reins. Like yo, this is a house game, man. You can't be second guessing in this game, bro. You got to stick with your nuts. You got to go with your goal.
But then that goes to getting in his head. And do you want to do that before this game? I think he should just instill confidence in him.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Man, just go with your gut.
You're gonna make the right choice.
Yeah, do what you do, and then just live with it. Cause I ain't gonna be there. I ain't gonna be on the sideline.
Oh, I'm gonna be on FaceTime.
I got something to say, Train, to your point and King's point. And it goes to the confidence that I have. It's the consistency. Like you said, Train, sometimes he's running or going for it when you like kick. It's inconsistent and you kind of don't know where he's at. But that was the same thing we got from the offensive and defensive line. Like Corum's first touchdown, I mean, they just shoved him out the way. You know what I'm saying? And then there was times that on the 4th and 1, we couldn't get no push.
No movement.
Defensive line. Keenan was asking for pressure. And then we in there getting a sack. You know, it's just like it was like this. And that just it chips away at the confidence a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Just do what you do every play. You know what I mean? Like
every play, every time.
Yep. And one thing I do really like about Mentor though is, well, one, there's 2 things. One, can we just generate straight up pressure with 4 people where we don't have to lose somebody in coverage to send heat, right?
That's when we had our best pressure too for
that's what we've been doing. You know,
yeah.
So able to get there.
Right. So that's the number one question. Will we be able to do that? because once you start sending heat, then obviously you're more exposed, in the secondary or whatever. But I really like the way Mentor and when they were like driving the field, I was like, oh, he's gonna start mixing it up. Like he's not about to just, what I'm saying, let us go out like that. He's gonna start mixing up the pressures. His stunts that we run are like flawless, bro. Like we run some hella fly stunts up front, the end and tackles, like D tackles, running games and knocking the dudes out, other dudes swooping around, so clearing up the space and all that. So I really like Mentor in that. But I think this game maybe usually, our offense has been like a threat, a bonus. And it seems like now more and more it's like the defense winning the games. And this time we got, like you said, a block punt, it was like almost like the whole team coming in to do their part, right? To get us to this win, which I actually like that because now it's like we're looking like a well-rounded team. Special teams doing their thing, defense scoring points. So I feel like this team, if one side is struggling, each of the other sides is good enough to pick up the slack. Like if defense is getting tore up, let's say Ohio State comes out and jumps on it 7-0, 14-0, whatever. Like I feel like our offense is going to respond. You know what I mean? Or or vice versa. So I like our chances, man. I really do. But the only thing that's got me a little nervous is that decision making
Our
from
head coach ain't there, and you should be. You know what I'm saying? That's everybody's worry. Like, because I even wrote it down. Like, we need our coach. Like, I was like it is what it is, bro. Like, we're at a deficit going to this game. You know what I'm saying? So we got to do everything that much better. I feel like we're due for a special teams return. Something has to be a wrinkle, an X factor. It's got to be in this game. We haven't had one all year. I don't remember. I don't think everything has been like thaw. Get away. So
It's just
and I think
something's a little off. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to harp on this too much, but like our leadership, Mason Graham's supposed to be one of the leaders. It's like you can't make that play, dog. You gotta know if it goes the other way, you're out for the first half of the next game too. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have it all together up here, man. So
hey, them targeting calls by the refs too. Like
I'm shocked they let those go too. Both of them.
too, bro.
I
I
thought
thought they
the
were gonna
first
get
one
at least get
was.
rid of Graham because it was a quarterback. I was like, man,
I
he's
thought the
gone,
first
bro.
one was, and I thought Graham's was too. As much as shoulder that they got into it, both of them, they got as much helmet into it too.
Yeah.
So let's actually talk about that other team we play this week. So when you think about them, where y'all at with it? Is it straight up just like don't let Marvin beat us and we good? And then it's like if we're paying so much attention to him, and does Travion Henderson start getting loose on us? Obviously Marvin Harrison is that guy. I feel like he's gonna stir the drink. But what do y'all think our strategy, Keen? I'll let you start, but just like overall, you don't have to get to the nuts and bolts of it, but just like X, Y, and Z should be, priority 1, 2, and 3.
I feel like Maserati Mars should be priority 1. I think he's gonna open up everything for them if he gets going. Just like we saw versus what game was that where he didn't do nothing until the second half. He had like 3 touchdowns or something like that. He ended up with it. They weren't doing much until he got involved in the game. I mean, he's a lottery pick, top 5 pick, whatever you want to call it. They're calling him the best receiver prospect ever. I beg to differ on that. Randy Moss was a hell of a prospect, but and that's not even Ohio State hate. Maybe it is a little bit, but I don't give a butt. You know what I'm saying? But
it ain't. I mean, he's
everything starts with that guy, man. Travion Henderson, he looks explosive, he looks shifty as a back, but I feel like if Harrison is contained, then he won't get the lanes he sees when Harrison's doing his thing. You know what I mean? When Harrison's getting fucking 3 touchdowns a game. So everything starts with that guy right there, man. He's NFL pedigree. Everything starts with him for me, in my opinion.
Yeah. So B, as far I'm sure you agree, so you don't have to reiterate that. But what should actually be the strategy though? Like, will Johnson follow him one over the top, or I don't really want to see no one-on-ones, dog. Personally, I don't.
Hey, Train, this is where I wish we ran a standard base defense 4-3 with 4 DBs and it's cover 2. And let's use their weaknesses against them. Let's attack that offensive line and make the quarterback throw into tight windows and
be
pick us
rushed.
apart down the field.
Yeah, be
You know what I'm
rushed.
saying? They're gonna rely on the big play from Marvin Harrison, and then like he alluded to, when we start, you know what I'm saying, moving help over to Harrison, those lanes start opening up because we taking people out the box, and then Henderson starts make them show us that their quarterback can play football, like we did with Tua. Pin him in the 90, pin him so he has to drive 95. Hey man, if you pick us apart down the field, which he has not done all season, hasn't had to, hasn't been tested like that all season. If you pick us apart downfield, like you said, Train in the chat yesterday, we ain't ready. But base 4-3 defense is what I feel like, because we've been getting home with 4. Send that pressure at him, make him make decisions. But I say put this game. You can take Marvin Harrison out of it by making the quarterback beat him. You know what I'm saying? So, I agree with your preface too, Train. No one-on-one. We don't need that. Will Johnson, you ain't got nothing to prove. Wallace, you ain't got nothing to prove out there. Go ahead, bracket over top. And yeah, make them pick us apart.
Keep them in front of you. Keep them in front of you.
Because it's they don't have that second receiver like they had in seasons past. The second receiver on their team is their tight end, and he's not burning past nobody. So our linebackers can stay with him.
Yeah, he's
Possession.
good, but he's kind of luggy a little bit.
He's not a speed. He's not burning past us. You know what I'm saying, for touchdown. So
yeah, he ain't no hybrid.
Yeah, I would say make the quarterback beat us. That's giving me confidence over all these teams thus far. I'm lack of quarterback play.
I'm with that strategy for sure. Keen, do you got I'm just curious, what did McCourt do yesterday versus
hold on,
Minnesota?
It was all Henderson.
Had some decent games, I guess. I don't really know, but yeah, I mean,
he had
if he takes us out, I tip my cap.
He was 20 for 30, 212, and 2 touchdowns.
Those 2 touchdowns was in the first half.
Marvin Harrison only had 3 receptions, 30 yards. But Travion Henderson went off. He had 15 rushes, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like our run D, you know, at times we give up some runs, but we tighten up usually though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
agreed.
You see Maryland, they didn't run, they couldn't run it. I mean, they usually don't, but Penn State, you know what I'm saying? Nobody
have a couple runs, you know, like, oh, they break one for 10, 15, and it's like a couple more. Then, you know, one thing I really figured out or realized that we are great at, even though yesterday, I don't really count those, you know, the quarterbacks sneak from the inch yard line trying to push through, you know, the whatever. Right. Them seemed halfway. One of them seemed like they're running in from like a yard back, and then it's like, you know how much stuff happens by the time they run in. And then they look and they're like, oh, he is in. I'm like, I never really understood that calling the touchdown after you run in and clear the pile off and see where he's at. Like, man, my man could have inched up about
right.
But anyways, that's besides my point. My point is like you seen like we'll give up like a second, it'd be like 2nd and 9, and we'll give up like a 7 or 8 yard run, it'd be 3rd and 1. And we're good on 3rd and short rushes. Like, we stopped a lot of teams on 3rd and short on the run game, you know, and then or 4th and short, whatever. So I do like that part. So that's something that I'm looking to see next week. I know at once upon a time of recent, even I think this year, I think it maybe it's gotten a little better for Ohio State, but they've struggled in 3rd and short. Like, that was like one of their knocks, is like they're 3rd and short. You know, they're like pretty much, they've almost been coined like this finesse team now. So it's like the third and shorts ain't really
They
ain't really
skis.
yeah. That ain't our thing. We want to sling it around and get Henderson on the edges and et cetera, et cetera. So
Maserati mine.
oh
Hey, Maseratis are horrible cars, people. Hope y'all know that.
Facts.
Should have
and
been
Gus,
Mercedes Marv or
Gus
something.
Johnson ain't gonna know what to do next week calling the game. Man, it's the Don. Oh, Blake the Great, Maserati.
All
Gus
them
Johnson.
nicknames.
He on the
Time he
chain,
say
bro.
something, he gonna be clowning.
Did you cook barbecue and not invite me? I'm hurt.
All right, let me pose another question with y'all before we make some predictions and get out of here. So here's my question. So Michigan, well, here's one thing. Yesterday, I mean, as much as we wanted to win that game, in the big picture, it didn't matter if we would have lost, right? And I said that, and I meant that. You just don't want to go into the game with an L and feeling salty or whatever. But now that we actually did win that game, either way, this next week was going to be massive, right? Even if we would have lost to Maryland and we beat Ohio State, you good. So, but my next question is, let's say Michigan loses this week, tight game, maybe down to the last second field goal, however it happens. We technically, I would say, of teams in the running, would have the best loss in the country, right? Be the best one-loss team. And this is granted if there's other one-loss teams, because right now there's enough undefeated teams where we would get put out, but that's granted. That's Florida State got you seen what happened with them. Their quarterback broke his leg. He out for the year. Washington and Oregon, they're going to have to meet again. What if Oregon beats them this time?
Right.
I think they would keep us out just because of all the hoopla around us.
Oh, yeah.
But
that would be their reason.
On paper, what loss would be better? And you could argue Michigan didn't have Harbaugh. He would be coming back for the playoffs. But where y'all at with that? I don't even want to think about that because we're gonna win. I'm trying to keep all. Go ahead, King.
I was kind of off put by that when you was like, we don't need to win this. I was like, what? Like, what you mean we don't need to win this game?
I get what you were saying. Mathematically.
Now that with the one loss thing, that'd be the best one loss team in there. I get what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? But I don't even want to talk about this, man, because to be honest, this is too hypothetical for me, and I don't think we're gonna lose. But yeah,
it's gonna be a discussion this week. You best believe.
They're the best one-loss team for sure. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of variables, a lot of who beats who and who plays who, of course. But I mean, Ohio State and Michigan been top 3.
They lost to us last year. They lost to us last year and got in.
Yeah. See, I mean, there you go. See, now we cooking with oil. See, so I mean,
a point, Trey.
Hey, look, let's put a pin in this right here. You know what I'm saying? Remember this, because we got some firepower if that discussion does come up. Like, we got reason to say, like, whoa, we got the best. They number 2 in the nation. Number 1, number 2.
Number 1 and
number
2
1
this
in
year.
the nation. Like, whoa, we was number 2, 3, whatever. You know what I mean? So that's a good point. That's a great point.
B, you saying they gonna we out?
No. You took my point from last year. We beat them and they still got in. I say given that, we would only drop to 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, we dropped down 2 spots, which is a big enough. And that's if the Washingtons lose, the Florida States have 1 loss. If all the top teams right now are 1 loss, I say we drop to 4. In the grand scheme of things, just because that's how it played out last year, vice versa. So, yeah, man, that would be the best loss. They were ranked number 1 this year at one point, and they ranked number 2. We were ranked number 2 and number 3. So how can one loss to the number one team knock us completely out? It wouldn't make sense when
Reminds me of
Alabama's lost to who they lost to. Who would jump us with that one loss?
Alabama lost to Texas.
Texas, they're not ranked in the top 4 or 5.
They got a loss on the record already too. So
Right. Oregon wouldn't have a top 1 or 2, 4 team loss.
Well,
So.
I don't think Florida State gonna make it just because that quarterback came in and played pretty good. The backup did, but like it's all about money at that point in time. They want to see the team that's gonna actually compete. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's what I think is on their mind.
Yeah, but I mean, if Florida State goes undefeated, they gonna get in.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
definitely.
If
they lose, I don't think.
Oh yeah, if they lose, it's
a wrap for y'all.
Yeah, for sure. All right, one more question before we get to predictions, because I ain't just gonna bring up negative hypotheticals, Keen. I'm gonna bring up positive ones too. What happens if we pop them a third straight year in a row and Ryan Day loses to an interim coach? I mean, you can hear them already. They was ready. I mean, they was lightweight ready to axe his ass after 2 years. And I mean, some of that's probably being spoiled from whooping us so many years in a row. But now it's like, if you lose a third year in a row, and depending upon how it looks, if we like bully them again, it's gonna be some real conversations going on in Columbus about this. This could be like, they'll get in front of some shit early, like, oh, we see this turning into 5-6 in a row,
right,
at this rate. So let's go ahead and cut bait now. So I mean, I don't know, B, where you think they would actually fire him after this year if he loses to Michigan a third time in a row to an interim coach?
Oh, yes, sir. And we go on to win the Big Ten championship again for the third time in a row. Oh yeah, they getting rid of him, dog. They ain't got no choice. He don't got enough cachet to save his job. You know what I mean? His ties ain't with the school. Like Harbaugh went to Michigan. You know what I'm saying? He a Michigan man. That kind of bought him a little more time. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Ryan Day, he don't got that with Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think they would just be like, all right, it's time to move on in a different direction. I just don't know where you would go. That's always the question.
Look, that was so I'm gonna circle back.
Urban Meyer.
There we go. So I was saying if Day, I was kind of thinking about it two ways. Like, okay, if they fire Day, they get a new coach. It's like you shouldn't beat us first year with a new coach, right?
Oh yeah, right.
Unless you tell me they're gonna bring Urban Meyer back, then it's like, oh shit, I kind of would rather Ryan Day stay. If Urban Meyer's the replacement, I'd rather have Day there. But if it's not Urban, get Day out of here and let them get in a mini rebuild, if you would call that, for whatever that would be for them. It's like, shit, we could run off. This is a big game, dog. This could mean a lot for future games too. Like we could potentially parlay this into 5 straight, 6 straight.
Hey Trey, even if they got Urban, I wouldn't be worried the first year because it's still gonna be Day's players, you know what I'm saying, for a couple years. And I think he's like I've been seeing all over the X, he just went softer. He's more dainty. And that ain't gonna get it done.
I hear you, but I've seen Harbaugh's record versus Urban.
That is true. Okay, I digress.
That'll all come back up if he accepts that job. Like, oh shit, I felt the same way, Train. Like,
hey, daddy's home. Daddy's home, bitches.
I don't want to play against Urban Meyer like that. Hey, and if Harbaugh wasn't our coach and we were looking for one and he was available, I would want him. Like, get him. Look at he cheats and wins. You don't get caught.
You know he gonna do some more on the fence stuff. I love it. Get him in here.
A lot of what ifs, dog. This is a big game. I mean, I think they said it's only the third time since 1906 or something? It was something. It was like 90. It was a long ass time ago. We're both undefeated coming into this game. It was 2006.
06, I remember that. 2022
last year. And then all the other time, I think, was way the hell back when.
This is what it's about, baby.
And then this year. So let me see if before we make these predictions, I like where Sherrone Moore was at with this. Immediately after the game, he got to don't make me sign in. Let me see if I can pull it up. All right. I ain't gonna show it, man, because it's not showing up. But anyways, y'all could go look it up immediately after the game. And you know what? I could probably just play it through here.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Just so y'all can hear it.
Beat that ass.
He was immediately after the game. I'm always wondering, like, what are you saying to the team? Like, what's the process for like actually getting them mentally prepared for this game? You know what I'm saying? It's the biggest games of their careers. Let's see if y'all
At this point, it is.
See if y'all can just hear this. There we go.
Gotta turn the volume.
It's for the next game, for everything in the big house, for a chance to go to the Big Ten title. Everything you guys have worked for is for that moment next Saturday at noon in Ann Arbor. And now.
Hey man, I like he seems a bit intense. He seems like he's trying to get them in the right mindset. Hey man, and keep in mind Harbaugh's back all week too, so that's the one good thing. Even though he's not there on Saturdays,
and it's in the big house, so there's gonna be a level of normalcy to that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I haven't checked recently, but as of remember that Twitter space you sent, Keen, the other day?
Yeah.
Where the dudes was having that conversation on there.
Yeah.
Dude on there was talking about it's like a cold front, like lightweight blizzard potentially moving through.
No finesse game that day.
Them Suckeye fans been sick hearing that.
Hey, no finesse on that day. All grit and grind.
And I didn't see where, but I think Pun told me Ryan Day already threw a baby hedge out there with a comment pertaining to the weather. So
what do you say?
He said he couldn't remember. He said something pertaining to the weather though, like, oh, that, I don't want to say because
for sure.
It seemed like it basically was a comment in regards to like, oh dang, that's gonna suck if it's like that type of thing.
Right. We're not prepared for that.
Hey man, I hope they don't want to get in the phone booth and scrap though, because
we seen when we put them 8 or 9 linemen out there, what happens to teams though?
We'll go straight mammoth package is what we call it, man.
Yeah.
Put the bowling ball and the string beam back there and let them go.
Yep. Keen, real quick, talk us through these predictions.
Oh man.
Oh shit. Oh, hold on. Let me get my handy dandy notebook out.
I got enough dubs. Just don't let me come in last.
All right. So the record is at Train got, what is it? 5.
Yep.
I got 3. No, hold on. I got
4 now.
I got 4. Yeah, I got 4, and B got 1.
All I need is this one, and my season is complete, baby. I'm predicting like a Spartan this week. All I need is this win, and it's a win for season for me.
Oh, you're talking about leading up to this week, Keen? That was the record?
Yeah, leading up to this week, yeah.
Okay.
It's 5-3-1
now. You know what I'm saying? Train, you predict last week. You predicted 38-14. Bowie predicted 38-7. And I predicted 35-14, baby.
Slot buckets.
So, it's what is it now? 5-1.
Hey, King. You remember that game? You remember that game winner off Teen Wolf when he shot it? That look he gave, like that's what you look like on this prediction.
All right. So now that said, the spread is at 4 points. We're favored by 4 points. Gentlemen, start your engines.
B, you up first. We know
who's first. Oh, my bad.
You know the process.
Hey man, like I said,
carry the 2, cross over that 1.
Like I said, all I need is this one, and it makes my season complete. How we gonna play, man? What we gonna get? Factor in the weather. I'm gonna go 38-21. Boys in blue. Y'all already know that though.
I'm gonna go 28-21.
I'm gonna go 35-24.
Lock them in. Ain't no backing
I'm
out
always
now.
giving us buckets. I've been giving us buckets all season.
Oh, yeah, all
24.
All right, man. Let's go ahead, B. You got something?
One last quick point. I know I was a little negative on our boys. Kenneth Grant stepped up late, real huge. I like that.
Again, he been balling.
Yeah, and he been balling. And I want to just remind all the Go Bluers out there, last year, we barely scraped by Illinois. The same trap game. Same week. And what we come back and do the next week. So that's what I'm looking forward to happen this year.
And Blake, and that was the game Blake got hurt. So he missed this. He got hurt basically this time last year. So he's got to be hungry for this game himself.
There's a lot of energy, Train. That's what I'm trying to get at. There's a lot of energy. So I just wanted to throw that out there, man.
Yeah. And I'm kind of like not. I mean, you want to be clicking on all cylinders, but you know we got the talent to do it. So it's almost like you have a couple like okay games going into it. You kind of like looked at as like, oh, they not really, you know what I'm saying? Like people gonna be talking about us this week, like, oh yeah, Michigan ain't cut like that. You see their last two games,
They cheated.
So it's kind of like, yeah, keep talking bad about us leading up to this game. I prefer that instead of patting us on the back. So, Keen, what's happening on IG? Talk to us.
At the Michigan Man Cave podcast, we go live every game, halftime. Definitely check us out this weekend. It'll be more than a lot of emotions and you know what I'm saying, Michigan talk going on. But yeah. Just Christian Anderson, give it up for him, and he's balling. He's started off as one of in the first like 5 games, most efficient players in the nation ever, averaging 24 points a game up at Oak Hill Academy. So, he's committed to Michigan. So, yeah, great stuff on IG. Check us out at the Michigan Man Cave podcast.
Uh-oh. I'm scared to ask what's been going on in the ratchet world of the Wild Wild X.
More of the same, man. Nothing but live posts, going back and forth with these suck eyes. The thing that kills me is they have no like evidence or anything. They just throw stray comments out there, and it's just like, all right, honey. Now, with your extensive research and experience in football, what's the reason that you think that's gonna happen? It's just like nothing. Like, man, shut up, dog.
I said it, so it's just true.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is on the X, man, because you can say whatever you want. But anyway, I love it. The freedom of speech. Couple changes. I put the name on here. When you watch the podcast, you can see the new name. It's the Mitten Man Cave. I don't know why we were having issues when you searched our last name. But this more fits, you know what I'm saying? The Michigan Man Cave podcast mantra anyway. Keenan definitely graced us with the link tree. Now in the profile, you can just click on the link tree, have access to YouTube, our Twitter account, and also our IG account.
Same on Instagram.
Made it easy for y'all to get in touch with us and
streamline it.
Yeah. So we appreciate that, King, that assistance.
No doubt.
Yeah, man. But follow us. Check out the videos, man. Tell us what you think. Get at us, man. We want to hear what y'all think, man. More fair and interaction.
Yes, sir. So we ain't got nothing else for the greater good. Everybody, strap on your seatbelts. It's about that time.
Go Blue.
Celebrate that 1,000th win. Go Blue.
We'll see y'all next week after we 12-0.
12-0. 1,001 dubs. I'll let you
We'll talk about that 1,000th win. Big up.
Salute them. Celebrate them.
They know. The winners write history. You know what I'm saying?
All right, y'all. Peace.
Hey.
Killer, take us out of here.
Bounce, wow.